Thanks for tuning in to Unclogged, a Zoom Drain podcast, where we take an in-depth look at the wins and losses of our niche home service. We're also going to look at best practices on unclogging your business and the pipe dreams that motivate our every move. Are you ready? Let's run it. This is Zoom Drain Headquarters here in Plymouth Meeting, PA. Just recently switched offices, but I'm here with Teresa Mangano. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
All right.
You are 1 for 1.
All right, 1 for 1. We're on a streak.
We're on a roll.
So Teresa, tell us who you are. You've done a podcast for Unclogged before.
Yes.
I was at the Wet Show back in February in Indianapolis. For those of you that don't know, the Wet Show is truly our industry trade show, wastewater equipment and transportation trade show. So we had a chance to have a booth there, talked about a lot of topics that were pretty hot in our industry. Got a chance to talk with Ellen, our president of Zoom Drain franchise, and just tell us a little bit about who you are. For those of you that didn't watch our Recruiting 101 podcast, go do it. Talks a lot about what we do and how we do and pick up some ideas. So
100%. So I am Teresa, as you mentioned, and I have been doing recruiting for the better part of 8 years now. A lot of that has been in the construction industry and handling multiple locations throughout the U.S. So I'm well versed in how you can manage workforces that are not directly on site and working with different hiring managers and different needs and different geographies. So that's been really exciting to be a part of. I am SHRM CP certified, and that's
a lot of what you just said.
Yeah.
So you gotta say it one more time. SHRM
CP certified.
CP certified.
Yes.
Tell us, what does that mean?
So that is the Society for Human Resource Management. And that's what SHRM stands for. And CP certified is a certified professional. So it just means that I have been in the industry long enough and I know recruiting, I know aspects of HR. I have worked previously as an HR director, and just recruiting is just kind of the best. So now I'm here.
Yeah. SHRM, say it one more time.
SHRM CP.
SHRM CP. All right.
Yep.
Before I kind of just talk about what we're going to talk about today, you mentioned recruiting for construction.
Yes.
What was that like?
It's been amazing. I've always loved the construction industry.
Yeah.
I like to do home improvement projects at my house. I've done tiling, framing, all kinds of different things. So it's just always been something that speaks to me very personally. And just the construction is the best. You know, you get to talk to real people, and it's amazing when you connect with people who are actually out there doing all of the work, whether it is roofing, painting, whether it is installing windows, or what we do,
drain cleaning.
Yeah, drain cleaning. And that's huge. So it's just a really good fit for me.
Awesome. Okay, so I just want to talk to you, pick your brain, kind of open up the conversation here for what does it truly mean to retain employees. So we're talking about retention today. Just short conversation here about really what's it look like, what are some things that we do well, what are some losses that you've kind of seen in the industry, maybe at previous jobs, previous programs that you've run, what have you learned, and we'll go from there. So retention, table's yours.
Yeah, retention is obviously a huge issue. It's just as important as hiring is. You can hire all day long, but if you're not retaining people, then you're just in this hamster wheel. So retaining is really all about a couple of different things. One, knowing the company, the good, the bad.
Which sounds pretty easy, right? Especially if you work for them,
it does.
You own it, or you founded it, right? Sounds easy, but dive into that.
It's not, because we tend to, put blinders on at times, and that's just human nature, right? So understanding the good parts of the company, maybe the not so good parts of the company, and being able to speak truthfully and transparently about both of those things.
Yeah.
That's where retention starts. It's the very, very first conversation that a recruiter or a hiring manager has with a potential employee. And it just continues on through the employment relationship.
Yeah.
And it's relationship, so that is key to being able to essentially kind of sell the company, you know, and the benefits of it. So being truthful.
Where have you seen people kind of go wrong with that answer? Because you just said it's the question that you'll get asked first, right? Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about your company, right?
Yes.
What do you do here? Like, where do you see that kind of retention piece is going to disconnect from that first interview or that first conversation? Or
it's definitely when, there's someone having a conversation with a potential candidate and they don't see clearly, or they're trying to sell too hard.
Okay.
And a candidate wants one thing and that person is just driving that home hard. Yeah. And then in reality, that's not the case,
right.
So really taking an honest look at what the values of the company are, what the culture of the company are.
Not bending to
or
highlighting a specific request that maybe doesn't fit your culture or
exactly.
making,
Yeah, super, super transparent. And I think that every human being just wants transparency. It's definitely recently become a bigger trend with candidates, and we all want that. We all want people to tell us the truth and be honest. So if you do that from the get-go, you're already in a better place. And maybe it is
really your word lines up with what you've said, and they see that when they come on.
You say it, you live it, and that's really important.
Yeah,
so that's where I typically see people go a little off the tracks.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
The other really important thing is, the company. You have to know the people that work for you, right? Because you've gotten them through that initial period. They're employees at this point. You can't forget that they're human beings, and you can't not know them.
Yeah.
You should know them, not just as employees, but as just human beings. What do they like? What don't they like? And that can be a place where companies can go wrong, and it's a bottom line, and it's not a bottom line, because we're all here for a paycheck. That's undoubtedly the truth. But it goes beyond the paycheck, and it goes into appreciating people for what they're bringing to the table, because that's part of what makes your company so awesome. Yeah. It's not just the service. It's not just the product. It is the people that are driving everything.
How do you learn that, though? How do you learn about the person that you're hiring? And how do you get other people to learn? Naturally, for introverted people, it's going to be difficult to learn about somebody that you just hired. Or maybe relationships not quite there yet, something that you're working on. People at home, you've got teams that you're building that you just want to kind of rally around. But sometimes it's connection's not there, right?
Yes.
So what are some things that you've seen kind of help people learn about the other people around them? We're all human beings, right? And we all have to care about each other.
Yep.
Naturally. For some people it's very easy. Some people it's very difficult.
Yeah, I'm pretty out there, right? So for me, it's a little easier just to walk up to someone and say, hey, what'd you do last night? How's your day going? But there are those introverts and people who are having a harder time finding a connection, which can actually be a good thing, because a tendency in hiring is to hire people that you would want to go have dinner with, go to see a movie with, right? Hang out with. And that is not what we should be doing. We should be looking for people who fit the culture and who are going to be a good fit for the company in general. And they're not always going to be people that you want to go have a drink with or go, watch a baseball game with. Right. So in those instances where you're having a harder time connecting with people, you're not sure how to start, just have some basic questions, just how was your night last night? And just start the conversation in a very natural, easy way with one or two questions. And then that will help start that conversation flowing and be genuine about it.
Yeah.
It can't be just a rote, how was your night last night? It has to be.
It sounds so simple.
It does.
But
it does.
There's something about work I'm not sure if other people are like this. Or, you get into the zone.
Yes.
And you only worry about work.
Yeah.
And the next invoice that comes through, and the next job that you have to go out, and the next call that you have to make, right?
Next meeting, yeah.
Right. So what are some practical ways, really? You just said simple questions, right?
I think
what's something else that can really build relationship, I should say.
Yes.
And bring your culture to the next level.
I think most importantly, just saying hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
You walk by desks. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Hey, Rosa. Hey, Andrew. And just saying hi. It goes so far in building a relationship because you recognize the person, you know their name, and people do remember that. They remember that just as much as they remember when someone just beelines right past them and says nothing. That is impactful in a not great way, but just, hey, nice to see you today. How's your Tuesday going? But another thing
Did you say how's your Tuesday going, or how's your toothache going?
How's your Tuesday? Yes. Hope they don't have a toothache. That would be not great. Hope you have a good dentist. But I think the other thing, and Zoom does this very, very well, is having time that's not just business to connect with the employees. Yeah. And we have an event committee, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of it.
Nice.
And we really focus on having events that are impactful for employees. Yeah. And if we see that we're not getting much attendance at one thing, then we actually sit down and take a look at it and go, okay, well, this didn't work. People weren't engaged. They weren't attending. So let's scrap that and let's try this. Yeah. And we've done that trial and error. And again, it is going beyond giving people a paycheck, and it is hanging out with them. And you may not talk to everybody, right? You got 50 people there. You're probably not going to talk to every single person, unless you're me and you're just running around talking to everybody. But most people you can't, right? But it's also really great because you can say, oh, your daughter is so cute. How old is your son?
Right.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you. So-and-so's wife or girlfriend or significant other. And you can really start to get those relationships formed in a very organic way.
Now, you'd mentioned the event committee.
Yes.
And would you say the event committee is retention in itself?
Yes, it is.
So committees.
Yes.
What other committees could an organization introduce other than an events committee, right? Everybody thinks of The Office when they think of committees, and the show, very, very, very popular.
Yeah. Love it.
You can kind of go crazy with committees.
You can.
But just some other committees that people can introduce to their teams, kind of make it a retention, focused piece for them.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we do well, and it's really not so much of a committee, but we recognize people's birthdays. So if someone has a birthday, an anniversary, we call it a Zoom-iversary. We put it on the calendar so everyone can see it. It is, yeah. Nobody steal that, please. And there's a message sent out the morning of someone's birthday, and just a happy birthday. And we send gifts or GIFs, depending on which you prefer, out. And it's just a fun way to recognize, hey, you were born, or you've been here for 5 years. And it does mean something because everyone then jumps in and they send their own, pictures or whatever it is. And I think that does make a difference. You're recognizing the human being that we all are. Yeah. So I was ecstatic.
So kind of like this recognition committee, right?
Yeah, it is. Cool. Just recognizing that we're here for a shared purpose. Yeah. Not expensive, right? Totally free. We don't do the big, birthday celebrations, which is okay because not everyone needs or wants that.
Right.
But we do acknowledge, people's life here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Any other committees kind of or things that are in place that people just being a part of them are able to have a say in the company? Doesn't have to be here, right? Could be elsewhere. Anything else kind of come to mind as we're discussing that? I
think, interestingly, the safety committee can actually be a pretty cool place because you're talking about a shared goal, right? Keeping everyone safe. Right. And you're having people from different areas of the companies come together and discuss what's really important is keeping everyone, not injured, hopefully. And so it's a great place to really come together, share ideas. Training Zoom does training really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you talk about apprentice classes, you have 8 people coming together, completely different backgrounds, different walks of life.
Meshing. Learning each other's, you know.
1,000,000%. Yeah, we did a barbecue a month ago in June, and I watched the apprentice class, which had really just started.
Right.
And I watched them playing basketball together.
Yeah.
And they were having a great time. They
Yeah, that's
connected. So it's not a committee, right? It's not something that we're trying to put in place to make people connect.
No, but it is a part of our culture.
It is a huge part of it.
Train people.
Yes.
Right? So they're around a set of people that have a like-minded goal.
Yes.
And kind of move forward from there. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
and they really do connect, and it's awesome to watch because there are people that, you know, may never connect in real life, you know, if they didn't have the shared goal and the common purpose. And watching them, I got pictures. They don't know it, so don't tell them. And they were just having a really good time, and it was awesome to watch.
Yeah,
and not
cool.
take video at all.
So those pictures that you mentioned, when I think of retention, I think of a project that we introduced, I think it was this time last year, when we were talking about how do we highlight people's accomplishments, right? The Zoomiversaries, how do we get news, you know, kind of circulating through the company? How do we involve the families at home, right? I think that's a huge part. And I actually want to pause there and get back to, I do want to talk about the voice at home. I hear that a lot, right? I hear it a lot in the sense of it's very important.
Yes, huge.
And it could be one conversation from the voice at home, and you know, you're coming to work with a different attitude, or you're coming to work with, hey, intentions to leave, right? Based on goals at home.
Yes.
Right? So I do want to get there real quick. But as we were talking about kind of how to influence, inform the voice at home, or even highlight acknowledgement, you know, pieces like that, we have what we call the Zoom Tribune. Yeah. And classic newsletter piece from a company or an organization, printed like a newspaper, mailed to everybody's houses. We get people that sign up their friends and family for the Tribune. They get a nice little gift card as well. Lunch on us, we call it. So the Zoom Tribune, I've seen kind of people talking about it. And when they get highlighted in those things, it means a lot to them.
It's huge.
I mean, it is the talk around the office, right? And I think that's incredibly important, just going back to the acknowledgement piece.
It is.
Yeah. So Zoom Tribune, newsletter.
It's amazing.
It's not lost. Right? Newspapers are not dead.
They're not.
No.
I get excited. I get excited when I get it.
Yeah.
And I will not look at it in the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will not.
Saving
I wait
it for later.
Literally, I wait and I look at it with my family, and we kind of go over, and I point out, oh, that's Sweeney, and that's Lawrence, and this is Andrew, and this is Luke. And, you know, it brings that sense of work home, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
No, I get it.
You know, and you get to tell stories about the people, and they can put the name to the face. Yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah. Some may even frame it on their refrigerator.
I may have framed it on the wall.
There you go. This was introduced to me by Ellen, actually. That it matters. And I take it like very, very seriously. Like I want to be able to inform the people at home, right? In my case, my wife, about the ongoings here, right? How do I get information to her? How do we have conversations about kind of growth and the next steps, really? Talk to me a little bit about how the voice at home can affect positively or negatively retention rates, really.
Oh, it can be huge, you know, and I think one of the good things that Zoom does is make sure that we try to bring the families in, and Zoom definitely recognizes that your family is as much a part of the company in many ways as the employee is. So I think that, you know, just kind of get the negative out of the way, from the negative standpoint, if someone comes home and they've just had a rough day, right? They were knee deep in sewers that day, and they're just tired, and they need a shower, and they're hungry, and, you know, it's just been a long day. And that's the only thing, right, that their person, their family hears, that is going to negatively impact
Definitely.
their family's opinion,
Yeah.
right? It's a dirty job. I can't believe you did that all day long.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
But by the same token, when you have someone who comes home consistently and says, you know what, this was a win today. I had this great day. They recognize my birthday.
Yeah.
We are planning an event. Can't wait. We're all going to go.
Right.
And then you have that one, oh, today was a rough day. You know, that one rough day, it doesn't matter because you have all of these other things that are really good that are influencing your partner or your family's decision on how good the company is.
Yeah.
And then again, for them to be able to come in and just hang out with us and see who we are and spend time with us, it's huge. You know, it's a personal connection that that's what life's about, right? It's personal connection.
Definitely. I've actually seen kind of, I'm going to stay here on the negative piece of kind of retention and go missed or misunderstood expectations. So kind of goes back to the conversation we had at the beginning here where you are in an interview and the candidate really would like something or really kind of hones in on something that doesn't quite fit your culture, and you are sitting there as a hiring manager, as an owner, as just a manager, and you're diving in there because you don't want to lose this person, right? And you're like, yes, we can do that. 3 months later, that doesn't come to fruition. The voice at home is saying, hey, what happened to that thing that you talked about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Misinformation or missed expectations, I think plays a big part. And so I make it a point personally to keep expectations on kind of both sides, right? Where I'm not a one-way street. It is a two-way street here. I'm looking at the company, I'm looking at home, and information is being passed freely. So misunderstood expectation, I think, can trip a lot of people up.
I talk to a significant percentage of people who are looking to leave their employment because they were promised something. Yeah. Somebody told them something, and it has never, ever happened. Yeah. And they're just tired of it, you know? So again, transparent and honest. Who wants to be lied to? Nobody, you know? And it's just an easy conversation to have up front. You know, no, we don't offer that. Yeah. But this we do offer, you know, and talk to them about that. Be honest, but don't just leave it as a negative, right? Nobody wants to be left with a negative. Right. There's always a positive that can come out of that, you know? So it's just, it's a two-way street. Yeah.
That's really cool. Is there anything else that you kind of want to touch on just when it comes to retention? We talked about knowing your company.
Yes.
Knowing your people.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about the programs kind of in place that you can, use and start to kind of draw out and brainstorm. Anything else here that just comes to mind as we talk on this?
I think always be willing to change.
Yeah.
Referral programs are really big too.
Yeah.
And
explain that. Anybody know what a referral program means when it comes to retention?
Yeah. Referral programs, it's your employee referral program. So finding people that work for you currently and having them talk to their friends and neighbors. Yeah. And if they're having a great experience and, you've been truthful and transparent, then they're going to naturally want to say, oh my gosh, this happened to me at work today. Yeah. You've got to come here. Yeah. And it just means something when you have a current employee who's been there say, this is a great place. I really, really love it. And they trust that person. Yeah. So, that person then wants to come on board. So having a good employee referral program is important. But again, always changing it, always being willing to change it if you're not getting the results that you want. Yeah. And some of those things can be one of the first things to go, when you get busy, when you're running around to meetings and appointments and all of this, but always being willing to adapt and to change. And Zoom Drain is really good at that. Yeah. Jim Carnegie is fantastic at you say, well, I don't know about this. Okay, well, let's change it, So that open mindset is one of the keys, I think, to being successful and retaining your people. Yeah.
Well, I really do hope that this conversation proved fruitful for those of you listening. I know it's awesome to talk to Teresa about what it means really as a manager, as somebody who invest in the lives of other people and have other people invest in the lives of myself, right? It's really cool to kind of have these conversations. So I hope you did pick something up from it. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. I do appreciate it. In the new digs. So
love them.
Video to come shortly. We'll give you a little sneak peek, right? Thanks, guys.